Good each and every one. So today again we'll be discussing this field practicum how it will be useful for us. It is very important. So in the last class we were discussing the when we are visiting to any welfare organization. By that time what we supposed to collect the information from that organization, those things we were discussing. Yes or no? So anyone you can, any one of you yesterday what we were discussing, can you tell me 2-3 points? Hello? Anybody
Hello.
from your side, can you tell me what we were discussing in the last
Hello.
class? Hmm? In the last class, what we were discussing?
Hello, sir.
In the last class, what we were discussing? Can you tell me 1 or 2 sentences?
Hello, sir. Are you with me, sir?
Yeah.
Sir, I want to ask only one question regarding my last practicum, sir.
Yeah.
In my last practicum, 107, I think I read my practicum on social casework regarding a
Yeah.
boy that is a drug addict. Sir, if I may ask, can I take that casework back to this one that I'm going to write now in this session?
Okay, I will answer your question later on. I wanted to know yesterday what we were discussing. We were discussing regarding the orientation visit, right?
Yes,
We
sir.
were
Yes, sir.
discussing regarding the orientation visit. I will tell you. I will answer your question. Uh, Wait. So actually, that part uh, which I was talking to you, uh, we will continue that part, and then after sum up again, we will be discussing the other aspects. So, my dear students, as I was saying to you, when you are visiting to any developmental organization, by that time, you supposed to collect different information, and those informations are name of the institution, address, mission statement, institutional objectives, chief executive officer, board members, type of work, number of number and nature of beneficiaries, geographical area of work, whether the agency is registered or not, then organizational structure, I was discussing you what is organizational structure, what is administrative structure of a organization. These many things you are supposed to collect from that organization. Through draw a simple diagram. These things I was talking to you. And then number and staff members and nature of staff. Number of staff members and nature of staff. How many staffs are there? What is their activities? That things also we supposed to collect. And how many professional, supporting staff, volunteer staff, those information we have to collect from the organization. Beside this, I was saying to you, history of the organization. Why I am repeating this one, although you have collected all these things or you may be practicing, but then sometimes when we are visiting the organization, we should not forget all these points. If anybody is not providing you this information, you may be collecting it from other sources that I have already talked to you. Other sources means from their annual report, from their brochure, from their leaflet, or from their website, from their other neighboring organization, where you may be getting their information, or some other people may be telling to you. Many things you supposed to collect from that organization. This is very important aspect of your subject. And next one is sources of funding. This is also very important part. Sources of funding, from which sources funds comes, that also you should know. I have already elaboratively discussed with you. This will help you even after completion of this course. When you will go for engaging in any organization, the organizations will feel happy that you know that the techniques of sources of fundings. So you may be sometimes the organization may not be disclose you from which sources they are getting the funds, but you should know that what are the areas from where the funds flows into the organization. They may be hiding to you, they may not be telling to you, but you should know, and you should try to get the information. If they are not saying, then also it is okay. This point you may be excluded. It is not that suppose IGNOU student is visiting to the organization, and if he is not getting that information, particular information, then he may be skipped to that particular point. If it is not available, if they are not supporting, if they are denying to give you that information, then it is okay. Right? That flexibility is there. Then infrastructure facilities, that also I have discussed with you. We up to this point we have discussed yesterday. Today we will be discussing relationship with other agencies. This is very important. Again, I am telling to you, relationship with other agencies. The organization where you are visiting, what type of relationship that is continuing, or what type of relationship having that organization with other organization, that you have to understand. That thing you have to understand. Sometimes what happen, there are some organizations who do not have good relationship with other agencies or with other organizations, self-dependent organizations. So sometimes they have good relationship with others. Mind it, the organization do not have any other relationship with other agencies, that organization is really is not a good organization. Why you know? Because the organization is meant for the welfare. The organization is meant for other sex. If it is not doing that activities, then we will know that this organization is not good for nothing. Only that organization is thinking for himself. If other agency means it may be the government agency, it may be the non-government agency. Suppose a organization has good relationship with block office. A organization has good relationship with the district office. A organization has good relationship with the state office, state government agencies. There are so many agencies are there. Those agencies need to be interlinked with that particular organization. If it is not that, then the relationship, the PRO, public relation officer, does not work effectively from that organization, or that organization is not effectively working. So therefore, not only the government organization, there are some certain non-governmental organizations also there where they need to have good relationship. That is very much important. And next point is problems faced by the agency and propose remedies. My dear students, problem faced by the agency and proposed remedies. What kind of problem that agency is going through? That also you need to identify. That also you need to know. What are the problem? You first understood what kind of problem maybe they are facing. Problem is two type. One is internal problem, another one is external problem. Internal problem is, for example, within the agency, there is no coordination among themselves. They do not have good recording. They have the scarcity of money. They have the scarcity of uh, insufficient of infrastructure. They have the fighting within themselves for promotion of their vacancy post in their organization. So these are and non-qualified, non-professional staffs are there in that organization. These are so many internal problems which arises within their organizational setup. And another external problem is, suppose to that organization, government is not supporting. They are politically involved. That is why the ruling government is not supporting. Funds is not flowing from the government, non-government side. No one is interested to work in that organization. The other agencies are not enemy to that organization. These are all some sort of external problems. So one organization became weak when there is internal problem or external problem. Next, if there is internal or external problem, it is okay, but what are the proposed remedies that they have taken? What are the proposed remedies? Remedies means solving points, solving steps, solution steps they have taken to solve that problem, that organization. That is very much important, my dear students. If that organization faced the problem, or any problem arises, and if they have not taken any initiative, then that organization is in the stake. That means the organization is a dangerous situation. Therefore, the remedies need to be find out. That organization need to find out the remedies. So your duty is, your work is not to solve their problem. Only your duty is to, you should know the problem of that organization and what kind of remedies, what kind of solution, problem solving steps they have taken, that you should know. That's all. Because as a student, we do not want to intervene to any problem, or we do not have any authority to solve their problem. Only to know these problems and solving methodology, it will help to us in future. Because you are not going to interact only one organization. You are going to interact with 5 different developmental organizations. So different organizations may have different type of problems. Different organizations may have different type of proposed remedies. These remedies, these problems would be helpful for us, for future, where we may be falling in the problem, and the problem could be solved if we know these problems. For this reason, we must know these things. Next one is future plan. Dear students, future plan is very important aspect. Today, that organization situation is not good, but they may be plan something for their future. And when they have made the plan need to be materialized. They will try their best to materialize those plans. My dear students, this is very important for a social work training, that if the organization is undergoing through any kind of problem, or the organization has no any problem, it is okay. But what is their future plan? Organizational future plan. For example, they want to expand the infrastructure. They want to expand the number of staff. They want to expand the geographical area. For example, they were working in a district. They thought, this year onwards we will be working in one more district. 2 districts. Suppose 2 districts they want to work. So that is their future plan. Or they may be thinking to establish more offices, liaising office, main office and liaising office. So these many, what are their future plan, that we must know. If we know their future plan, automatically our knowledge will be developed. So suppose they have only one computer or system. They want to add some more computer, more number of systems. That also future plan. Suppose this year they have taken only 10 number of students as their training. into their organization. In future, they have planned, no, we will not intake only 10 number of students, we will intake 20 number of students or 30 number of students. For them, we'll give a small salary. That can be also done. So, these are some of the tips, these are some of the important things that we need to know from that organization. Only simply, there are some people who cannot answer to your questions. So by the time you have to also supplement. Suppose you know, sir, what you want, is there any future plan of income generation? Is there any future plan of area expansion? Is there any future plan of staff enhancement? Is there any future plan of your organization to buy some vehicle or to visit abroad for resource mobilization? Whatever the things comes to they are doing, that we have to understand. And the point is that we must understand that what is their future plan. Means what are the areas of future plan? Sometimes they may not be able to speak. We have to supplement them, sir. For this area, do you have any plan? For this area, do you have any plan? So that way, we can able to explore the information. Future plan. If any, if there is no future plan, there is no need to ask again and again. If they have future plan, then that future plan you need to incorporate in your fieldwork report. Then recognition and awards. My dear students, many organizations who have mostly received different type of recognition and awards by other organization. Say it is government organization or it may be the private organization. But many of them must have received some awards or recognition. For example, for plantation, there is a award by the Department of Forest Department, Environment Department. Suppose for plantation, they must suppose they have got some award. That award also, them also in Odisha there is a award for plantation, that is Prakriti Mitra, Prakriti Bandhu. Prakriti Mitra, Prakriti Bandhu. In Odisha, in India, in Odisha, there is a award known as Prakriti Mitra, Prakriti Bandhu. That means those who have planted trees, more number of trees, and have the certificate, really they have planted, for their encouragement, the government is giving some awards to those organizations, to those individuals. So likewise for health sector also, there are some awards. For education sector, there are some awards. For entrepreneurial activities, there are some awards. So what kind of award they have got, received, that we need to know. Government is government as well as non-government organizing different type of award camps and awards for these people, for that organization. Right. So These many things also we need to know. That is very much important. Another thing, that is affiliation. Affiliation means if that organization is affiliated to any other government or non-government organization, or it is not affiliated. If it is affiliated, means it is okay. If it is not affiliated, then also it is okay. No need to worry for that. But we need to collect the information of their affiliation. An organization may have different affiliation with different organizations. Huh. Government organization, non-government organization. So it is also important aspect for an organization. How much number of affiliated organizations are there under that organization? We should know. If it is affiliated with more number, then definitely we must think or consider that organization is a good organization. That means it has a good network and the multiple work is going on that under that organization. For instance, I tell you, some of the organizations are affiliated with different educational universities. There are some organizations who have some schools and colleges. There are some organizations who are affiliated with health department. They are undergoing some eye hospitals and they are organizing some eye camps, etc., etc., etc. There are some organizations who are associated with horticulture department. There are some organizations who are associated with livelihood activities. So we must know some of the organization and which organizations are working for the betterment of the society. That is very important. Dear friends, there is another option, that is any other information. What have you learned from today's visit? The very important thing is that you have visited to that organization and as I was saying to you, you must note down that what is your major learning area or what did you learn on that day, that you have to write. What you have learned from today's visit. Maybe you were not knowing about the affiliation and you came to know the affiliation matter. Maybe you were not able to know the recognition and awards. You came to know there are such type of recognition, such type of awards could also get a organization which earlier you were not able, you were unknown. And when you visited to that organization, you came to know that this type of awards and recognition could also one organization get it. That you understand through visitation of this organization. You could not, you were unaware of that organization regarding the sources of funding, and you came to know that these are also sources of funding through which our organization becoming strengthened and this organization becoming strengthened and strengthened. These many points you can write. Learning aspect is always positive aspects. What you do not know, and what you came to know, that you have to focus. Any knowledge, exposure, experience. any knowledge you got earlier you do not know, any exposure that you saw, which is very, very much interesting for you, any experience you got it.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. We get a lot of experience and knowledge from your teaching, sir. Because
Yeah.
my previous practicum was so hard to me. But during your presentation, I found some difficult pages that will be very easy to me now. And I want to ask on the five visit that someone is going to do to agency and select one out of the five and do the 15 concurrent visits. Sir, uh, at the previous practicum, uh, I think 104, I visited at least 20 agencies, which all were registered. And the second practicum 105, I visited five and select one out of them and write my practicum on it. That's how I continue up to 10107. And now what I'm asking is that what I have done in 106 and 107, is it possible for me to do it in this 108? Since though I see the practicum is going on a group work, if I understand what uh, the the document that was sent to us, I think is a group work. Thank you, sir. That's my question.
Okay. See, which organization already you have visited and you have written the report. I suggest you should not repeat that organization. Okay. So you should try to visit other organization so that you can have a better experience, you can have a better exposure, and you can get the knowledge knowledge also. Why I am speaking to you, that part I will come later on. I am going through one step by step. Okay. So what you said, practicum 106, 107, earlier you have done, suppose you have already done, and which organization already you have visited, I request you, I suggest you should not repeat that one. If you could go to an other organization, that organization, through that organization, you may be getting some extent new things. Suppose I'm taking this class. If someone instead of me, if someone take this class, he may be saying some other informations beside this information. Include this information, which will be helpful for you, right? So therefore, I I'm not denying you whatever you have principle followed, that principle you may be following to this also. There is nothing any problem. But thing is that you have to change the organization, and through that changing that organization, you will get a very good knowledge, exposure, and experience. That is very much important. And your observation regarding the staff functioning and activities, uh, whether you have done the group activities, whatever you have uh, done over there, that you are going to write. So my point of discussion is, during the orientation visit, these points need to be followed. These are very important points. Points need to be followed. But we need to change the organization. By changing the organization, we'll have a um, extraordinary knowledge, and that knowledge will be helpful for all of us. Now, I'll come to the next. part, that is which you were just discussing with me, and that part again I'm coming now. So fieldwork component, under this fieldwork component, uh, this is one of the part which we supposed to follow for the orientation visit. The the first component is orientation visit. Now we'll be discussing. The first component is orientation visit. We have already some extent discussed. Initial tasks or activities assigned to the student are to visit some of the agency engaged in social welfare activities. We may call it orientation visit, which I have already discussed to you. In case of induction program, agency visit. In case of fieldwork practice and exposure visits, usually for educational purposes. These are, we are undertaking for the educational purposes, means for the study purposes for the students. The major objective of orientation visit are why we supposed to visit the organization. What is the major objective? That is, you must remember these many things. To acquire observation skill and develop spirit of inquiry. First is acquire the observation skills. I was discussing with you, there are so many skills we develop through the orientation visit, and the first and foremost objective of the observation is the objective is acquire observation skills. Means how you will observe. You will observe the infrastructure. You will observe their income generative activities. You will observe their geographical area, slum area, urban area, semi-urban area. You will observe to their beneficiaries. So that skill you need to develop. A general layman observation and a professional observation will differ because your observation is scientific observation. Your observation is objectivity observation. Your observation is purposeful observation. You are observing purposefully, keenly to know the different aspect of that particular organization and develop spirit of inquiry. Inquisitiveness. See, I'm looking you, I am praising to you all. You are all present from beginning to end of the class. It is a good spirit of a student, which I am observing from you. That in order to know more and more, though you know some of things already you knew, but still you are trying to listening, you are trying to hearing the teaching of your teachers. Thereby, you are developing your spirit of inquiry. It is a good sign. Likewise, when you are visiting to any organization, by that time, the objective is developing the observation skills and spirit of inquiry. This is one objective of orientation visit. Number two objective is to understand society responses to social problems. To understand society response to social problems. How the social problems are understood by the society. We are living in a society, and the society has some rules and regulations, norms, A society is regulated by some group of people. It has a structure. So how the society is realizing or understanding the problem of the society. There are some societies, lot of problems are there, but there is no responses from the societal side. That also you have to understand. Where you are placed, where you are visiting, that you need to know whether that organization is understanding the problem of that society or not. To understand, appreciate and develop ability to critically evaluate, to understand, appreciate and develop ability to critically. What you have to understand, what is the problem and what are the various services taken by the society, that you have to understand. Another thing is understand and appreciate and develop ability to critically evaluate the initiative of voluntary and government programs. As I was saying to you, in a society, you will find many more problems. Whether that problem is addressed properly or not, whether that problem is realized by the society or not, you must know. There are some government agencies, there are some non-government agencies who understand the problem and try to solve those problems. Orientation visit also aim at developing an appreciation for social work intervention. Orientation visit also aim to developing an appreciation for social work intervention. Through orientation visit, your enthusiasm, your spirit of social work is developing, as well as it also influence to others. And you can also able to know what are the intervention areas. There are some problems, there are some societies where many people are illiterate. Where your intervention, the societal intervention, the government intervention must be to make the people literate. That is the intervention point. That point you must be learning through this orientation visit. A first-hand knowledge you will get out of that. In these programs by another one, developing the appreciation for social work intervention. In these programs by recording relevant information about the client system and the problems concerned. So while you are visiting to that organization, by that time, you are also recording the activities and how the problems are solved by the government as well as non-government. That also you are observing. That also you are understanding. What are the problems and how the government is trying to solving those problems. For example, I tell you one information. There is a department that is called Mission Shakti in Odisha. We call it Mission Shakti. There is a department. This department is mainly focusing to women empowerment. Social and economic empowerment are taking place through this particular department. So this is one of the program. Mission Shakti is one of is a department. Through that department, the government is giving all sort of support to the people. Women's, especially women's. What is that? Through forming the self-help groups, Swayam Sahayaka Goshti. In Odia, it is Swayam Sahayaka Goshti. Self-help group. And self-help groups are supported financially by the government, and that financial support they use for their economical empowerment. They are using for income generative activities, and thereby they are the women are self-sufficient. They are self-reliant, self-dependent. They are not lending money from others, landlords, from the bank, from other sources. Rather, they are giving lending to others and getting the interest out of it. So, my dear students, you will come to know through your study that what are the programs is implemented in that particular area on behalf of the government, on behalf of the private sector, and what kind of changes is taking place, how they are implementing, what is their strategy, what is their outcome, what is the input, what is the outcome, what is the impact. All these things you can also realize, and that realization will help you for learning a more, because we are meant to serve the society. Unless we are not understanding the problem of the society, unless we are not able to solve, in order to solve the problem, there are some programs and policies. If we are not able to know those things, then it is meaningless for us. So that is why we must know that. And how it is implementing, how it is implemented, what is the strategy government has taken, that we must know. The role of social worker and its relevance to the client's needs and problems. You are all the social workers. What would be your role? Through this orientation visit, you will come to know that what is the role of a NGO. You will come to know that what is the role of a social worker. What is the role of a social worker? A role of a social worker is a facilitator. A role of social worker is a prodor. A role of social worker is a actor. A role of social worker is a advocate. A role of social worker is a pleader. A role of social worker is a mediator. A role of social worker is advocacy. These are some of the roles. Sometimes you may be acting as a prodor. Sometimes you may be acting as a teacher. Sometimes you may be acting as a dramatist, geography teacher. Sometimes you may be acting as a lawyer. You may be pleading, you may be advocating for some causes, for some people, some persons. So you must understand what are the role of a social worker. Through this organization visit, orientation visit also, you will be knowing what could be the role of the social worker. Because you are visiting the organization. From that organization, definitely you will come contact with some social workers. What they are performing their role, what kind of role, that role may be imitated by yourself. You may be influenced by them. You may be knowing, oh, these are some of the areas of performing the role. That role you will be understanding. So all roles are not equally performed. At a time, it is not performed. It is performed differently in different situations. So you have to act as per the situation. When the situation comes, and what kind of situation, what kind of role you supposed to perform, that you must understand. Next one is the role of the client worker, the role of the social worker, and its relevance, the client's needs and problem. And its relevance to the client's needs. My dear students, what is your relevance? What is your significance? What is your importance in relation to the mitigating the needs of the clients, needs of the problem, mitigating the problem of the client, need of the client. This is very important. What is your relevance? How you are valuable for them? You may not be giving them monetary support, but you may be giving them a knowledge, an information, awareness, making awareness, sensitization. So through this, you are trying to solve the problem of the client. That is why there is a big relevance of your presence. Now, there are many paid workers are there whom we are calling service provider, means a employee. But you know, we are providing service as a social worker without money. As a professional, definitely will get the money. I'm not denying on this because without money, one cannot survive. But it is my personal experience when you are a qualified and if you are deployed in any organization, you may be remunerated very low salary. Whereas in the same post in the government level, people are getting a much amount. In the contrary, you will get or I am getting a very low amount. Why? You know, because we are social workers. Our designation may be a bigger designation, but when we are getting the money, we are getting very low. Still, our relevance is very high in order to address the needs and problem of the client. When the needs perpetuates for a long time, it becomes a problem. When a problem perpetuates for a long time, it becomes an issue. So, very silly needs may be also addressed by our knowledge, by our talk, by our guidance, by our supervision, etc., etc. So, dear students, we need to put forth our best effort. We need to put our best effort for the solving of the needs and problem of the client. We need to prove ourselves that there is a relevance. People should understand. People should realize that this is the social workers' relevance is really required. Their presence is really required. That things they may be understand. And then the relationship between the micro problems and the macro problems. Another one is you need to come across small problem management as big problems in a community. What is small problem? What is big problem? That you need to understand. And how you are dealing with that problem, that is also matters. As I am saying, as I was saying to you, we are not a full-fledged problem solvers. We are just helpers. We need to make them strengthen to help themselves. We will show the road, we will show the pathway where they can walk and reach into their destination. How we will just guide them to identify their problem. We will guide them to identify the resources. We will guide them to utilize the resources for solving their own problem. That things we need to impart to those students, people where we are working. And the micro problem. The appropriateness of the organization's resources and the nature of intervention, gap identified and suggestions. The appropriate of the organization's resources. My dear students, if there is a vehicle, that is also a resources for an organization. If there is a laptop, that is also resources for an organization. If there is a conference hall, that is also resources for an organization. How that resources can be utilized, how that resources could be utilized, applied for the development of that particular community, or that organization itself also. What is the intervention point that we need to find out? And gaps identified and suggestions. What are the gaps for which that organization is not developing? What are the gaps for which that organization is not flourishing? What is the gap for that organization is not, organization is static, it is not moving forward? Everything you need to understand. And also you need to find out the suggestions. From their organization point of view, from your point of view, what could be the suggestions? What is the gap? And in order to bridge up the gap, what are the suggestions that comes out from your mind that you need to write, that you need to understand, that you need to highlight it? If you are not highlighting this one, if you are not getting any suggestions in order to solve the problem, then also that is meaningless. The following settings can be visited depending upon the availability of the agencies. Through it would be better to visit as many agencies as possible for maximum exposure. My dear friends, as I think Anas was asking a question that whether we will be repeating the same organization or what. My dear students, you have to visit to different organization, means different settings, different areas of organization. Depending upon the availability of the agencies. There are, as I was saying to you, there are different nature of organization. If you could able to get those organizations exposure, it is good for you. But subject to matter, it should be available. If it is available, then it is okay. If it is not available, then you cannot able to do it. Maximum exposure visit is very, very important. Suppose I visited only one organization, suppose I visited to only one village. I may not get that much of information, that much of exposure. If I am visiting to number of villages, then I'll get a number of information. A number of village will provide you a number of information. That is very important. Friends, today, if you go to one decade before or two decades before, there was no such plenty of organization. But at present, you will see plenty of organizations are working. Multiple organizations are working where you will visit and you can get a first-hand knowledge. You will get the more exposure out of the organization. That is why more number of organization you need to enlist and visit. The student is encouraged to observe the similarities and difference in the way social work is being practiced in different settings. Your feedback supervisor will make you understand that what is the similarities, what is the dissimilarities of observation visit, and when you are visiting to different settings, what kind of information you will get it. You will find out what kind of problems that organization is facing, what is the cause behind it, what is the remedial part of it, that you will find out with the help of your supervisor. Difference can be observed in the practice of methods in same setting also. Suppose you are visiting to only educational institute, from there also you can experience differently by using different methods of social work. In some school, suppose you did the case study. In other school, you did the group work. So therefore, it may be the same school, but your work pattern, your method of work activities is different. So differently you will get the information. Differently you will be empowered. Differently your knowledge will be enhanced. The agency's values, the practitioner's approach, the agency's values you will come to know what is the value of that organization, what is the dignity of that organization, what is the worth of that organization. You will understand through that organization. And what kind of method, what kind of approach they are practicing to implement their programs, policies in the grassroots level for their staff also, that you will also know through that agency. What kind of approaches, what kind of methodology they are adopting. For example, some organizations, they work through self-help groups. Some organizations, they work through PRI member, Panchayat Raj institution member, urban local governing body members. Some organizations, they work through the youth clubs. Some organizations, they work through the farmers. Some organizations, they work through the youth. So what is their approach? What is their method? That we must know. The requirement of the client, the resources of the agency may be some of the factor influencing the practice of various methods of social work. The requirement of the client, the resources of agency may be some of the factors influencing the practice of various methods of social work. Requirement of clients' resources. It means here when we were visiting to any organization, by that time we were a client. There are some students who have money. There are some students who do not have money. So those who have money and they are willing, they may be visiting again and again. Visiting to the organization also, it is a expensive. And those who have not available money, they may not be visiting again and again. For them, it is a factor influencing the practice of various methods. When you will, suppose you want to take 10 number of social case study and you do not have money to visit again and again to that particular place, community, for example, community. So what will happen? It will happen. It will affect to your case study since you do not have resources. Suppose you do not have vehicle, motorcycle or cycle, how you will go by your food? It is not possible to go long route. It requires a vehicle. Vehicle is also a kind of resources. So my dear students, these are some of the resources which needs to get by the students. The resources also sometimes affects to the students to get the knowledge, to practice the social work methods in the agency, in the community setting, etc. This is very important. Now, this is first component, and under this component, we'll be discussing some other points also. Component one, under this, we'll be discussing some other aspect. And next to this, again, we'll be discussing some other important things that we'll be discussing. But now, I invite you some of the queries, some of the explanation, or some of the experiences which you had. Kindly tell me. We will be discussing under this. Again, I'll tell you some more points. Then we will. I will invite you the question. Now, there are different type of settings. So in your journal book, you will find out some of the settings are there. That setting we need to understand. Number one is health settings. Under the health setting, hospitals, community health centers, primary health centers, clinics are come under the health centers. So my suggestion to you all, you may be going to any hospital also, right? Community health centers, primary health centers, clinics, and can practice the and can do your social work activities. Health setting are an important setting for the social workers. In hospitals, workers work along with the medical practitioners, means doctors, nurses, psychotherapists, and other paraprofessionals as medical teams. Their major functions include counseling patients suffering from serious of terminal services. My dear students, when you will placed in a medical, suppose you are working in a medical, the organization where you are placed, that organization is working in a medical, or you are placed in a medical, what would be your role? Your role is to your role is to counsel the patients suffering from serious terminal diseases. Your role is you have to counsel to the patients, and you have to counsel to their patients relatives, attendant. There are so many big diseases also there that those diseases need to be solved. Those diseases needs to be dealt by the social case worker, by the social workers. Our work is to solve their social problems by counseling. Our work is to environment modification of that particular patient. Our role is to develop the emotional, providing the emotional support, courage to those patients, so that patients could able to uh, so that patient could able to solve their problem. Counseling patients involved in accidents and welfare, loss of body parts. So these are some examples given in your book, journal book, that if anybody lost his organs, body organs, uh, by that time also you need to counsel them. And counseling the HIV infected individuals, uh, human immunovirus, HIV. You know HIV/AIDS. There are some patients who are affected by HIV/AIDS. So if you find out some this type of uh, patient, you may be counseling to them. Suppose there are some patients who are affected by the cancer and they have less chances of survival. To those patients also you will counsel, right? So through that you will able to solve their problem in some extent. In cancer patient, for the cancer patient, there is a palliative care service is taken by the counselors. So that part also you can do. Social work also counsel family members of the patients and enable them to adjust to the new situation and make necessary changes in their life situation so that recovery of the patient is facilitated. As just before I was saying to you, the social worker means you people may be also counsel to the patient's relatives. You know, sometimes when a patient is getting affected and directly or indirectly, who are suffering? The Their relatives are suffering. To take him into the hospital, to give him the medicine, to take care of that particular person. It is a very difficult task. So sometimes they became harassed. Sometimes they became very frustrated. So by that time, we need to give them the courage. We need to counsel them that how can they face their challenges, this type of challenges, how they will happily accept to those challenges. That thing we need to teach to those uh, persons. Social workers also counsel family members of the patient and enable them to adjust to the new situation and make necessary changes in their life situation so that recovery of the patient is facilitated. Social worker also helps raise resources for the treatment and rehabilitation of the patient. Social worker also helps to raise the resources. For example, suppose a patient is a poor patient. He has no money to get the treatment. What he will do? You may be suggesting him to government. Government has a suppose in a chief minister relief fund. There is a relief fund, medical fund. So you may be asking to the chief minister to help them. There is a Red Cross. Red Cross may be some money which will be provided to the patient. In each district there is a Red Cross. You know how many of you know Red Cross? Do you know Red Cross? Mikhail, Cliff,
Sir.
Anas, do you know
Yes,
Red
sir.
Cross?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Red Cross is a fund. Red Cross has a fund. Okay. So you may be recommending to that patient to get the fund from the Red Cross. It may be a small fund, but he may be accessing that one. So that is the that way also you can help. Another way is suppose you that information you gave into the newspaper, you gave into the electronic media, and thereby through the electronic media, if that news comes, then so many people will come forward to help to that particular patient because he is a poor person. So sometimes what happen, people do not know. Other people, the rich peoples, the persons who are supposed to help, they do not know to whom they will help. So we need to inform them so that the people the poor people can access that the fund. We are not giving money, but we are just informing them. There are certain hospitals where freely patients are getting treatment with food, accommodation, etc., and caring. So why not we will show them? Why not we will inform them to do that? So that way also we can help to the patient treatment and rehabilitation of the patient. There are some rehabilitation center also there for uh, for the HIV/AIDS patient, for the leprosy patient. There are for the disabled people. There are some rehabilitation centers where the patients are kept, where the patients are living, where the patients are staying and getting that treatment freely with accommodation and fooding, etc. So these many things we need to provide. These many information we need to provide to those people, the patient, and they will feel very glad. And thereby we are fulfilling our objective. Thereby our fulfilling our uh, activities by doing that organization, by visiting that organization. And in mental health settings, the social worker is part of the mental health team along with the psychiatric and psychologists. You know, when you will go for higher study, there is another course that is psychiatric social worker course, psychiatric social work course. There is a psychiatric social work course. If you are placed in a psychiatric setting, psychiatric hospital, where you will be the member, or you normally also you could be the member of a psychiatric doctor and psychologist and social worker. Three of you may be solving the problem of a psychiatric. The primary function of the psychiatric social worker is to counsel the patient and his family members, implement behavior modification techniques, conduct home visit, facilitate the returns of the patient into his or her normal functioning as a student, housewife, or employee. In the community health center, the social worker studies the health needs of the community and based on the develop awareness program to change the behavior pattern of the community. Suppose in a community there is a malaria. Suppose in a community there is a filaria. Suppose in a community there is a skin-borne diseases. It is a mass disease. So therefore mass need to be aware. Mass needs to be sensitized. If the mass people will sensitize in a particular community, everybody, suppose there is a polio, all children, those who are staying in that particular slum, if one children is left out to take that polio drop, then the disease will survive. So everybody need to take that drop, preventive medicine. For that, there is a mass education required. For that, there is a mass sensitization is required. If the mass people, if the community people convinced, then definitely that disease will be vanished from that community. So that is community health. Through that community health center, the social worker studies the health need of the community. What is the health need of that community? The social worker will studies, and based on that, develop awareness program. Suppose there is a community where there is a diarrhea, means their stomach is getting infected, hookworm generated in the stomach. Why it is so? Because they are not aware of using the toilet, safe toilet. They are going for open defecation. So what is your role? Your role is to motivate them to not to defecate in open field. There they need to use their toilets. There are some unqualified people, illiterate people, poor people, village people are there who have no latrines, toilets. Even though toilets are there, they are using it for other purposes. So what is your role there? Your role is to make them sensitize, to use the toilet. There are some people who take the bath in river, pond, where buffaloes, goats, snakes, and other wild animals are taking bath. If they are bathing in that particular place, what will happen? There will be the health hazards. So what you will suggest? Not to take bath in river, not to take bath in pond, which is stagnant water. Instead of it, they need to bath from the well, bath from the tube, bath from the supply water, bath from the safe water. Beside this, if you are making aware of this, definitely the disease will be stopped. Other than this, suppose they are drinking water from river, ponds, you may be advising them to use the aquaguard filter, or taking the water from the supply water. Thereby, your motto will be solved, and you can able to develop the community in the health sector. Their behavioral pattern need to be changed. Suppose their habit is to open defecation, then their behavior need to change. How you will change the behavior? By saying the negative aspect of open defecation, how they are mentally, physically suffering, financially suffering, and what will be the benefit of going defecating in the toilet. That thing you need to impart them. So this is a behavioral part. They need to change their behavior, and if they are changing their behavior, automatically their problem will be solved. Many people, they are happy to go for open defecation in slum areas. They take a bucket of water and go for outside. But you know, this is very danger for them. So to change their mindset, behavioral aspect is very difficult. So suppose the community people, they are not cleaning their hand. Without the cleanliness of their hand, they are eating the food. So that dirty goes to our stomach, and in the stomach it creates some problem. So what we supposed to learn to them or teach to them? Before eating any food, you need to wash your hand with soap, with the ash. If you are cleaning your hand, then your food is clean. You will not infected. So anywhere, any point of time, when you are eating anything, you please wash your hand with a water. See, we are educated people. We know that there are hand wash are there. So immediately we maybe take that hand wash and wash our hand, and we can eat. We know that. We are aware of that. But they are not aware of that. So we need to teach them that this is what, wherever you go, water is available. So you can wash your hand and take the food. This habit we need to practice with them. We need to change their behavioral practice. He also organizes health camps, conduct a health service survey, organize the people to demand health programs, and looks for a way and means to improve the same. To begin with, one may have to motivate and facilitate the community to be hygiene in the day-to-day life. So here what it is advised, you may be organizing some health camps, you may be organizing some mega health camp or small health camp or eye camp like that, and also demand for health programs in their locality. Dental checkup also, you can have dental checkup also. Physical assessment also, you can take a help of the doctor for physical assessment and improve their health standard. To begin with, one may have to motivate and facilitate the community. In order to do these activities, a facilitator, a social worker need to be motivated to the village people. If they are not motivated, if you are not sensitized, if you are not aware, then they will not accept it. So the motivational part lies on you. You need to motivate them. That is very important. To stay hygiene in their day-to-day life. You know, most of the time we spend our money for rural people spend their money, much money for their health aspects. They lend money, they debt money from the uh, other sources, and they became very um, oppressed. So for that, we need to be very careful to facilitate these many things. So now, um, for discussing the second setting, we will. I before the discussing the second setting tomorrow, we will discussing rapidly. Will go so that we will cover all the points of this particular component 9. Up to component 9 is there. So all these components is very important for all of you. And if you could get a good knowledge on these components, you will be the giant. And in future days, you will also teach to others. Now, uh, dear students, if you do not, if you have any question, please tell me. We will discuss little bit for 5 to 10 minutes. If you have question, please tell me. Chipiloro, Cliff, Bobs,
We are with you, sir.
Mikhail, Davis. If you have any question, please tell me. We'll discuss. Hello,
Hello, sir. Sir, we are with you, sir.
Anas.
Sir, I said, what of, as you said, if there is shortage of the,
Please, please loudly speak. Loudly speak. Your voice is not audible to me.
am I audible now?
Yes, yes, yes. Please
I said that
carry on.
as you, if there is a shortage of the organizations in my area, I think I have at least 5 to 6 organizations in the area. That's why I said that I visit some organizations that did not pass 5. That's why I keep continue using the 5 to 6 organizations. I hope there is no problem.
Pardon, I could not get you because some extra sound is coming out from your side, I think.
What
Please
of now?
repeat again.
Am I audible clear now? Hello, sir.
Yes, now you can speak. Yes, now. There is a noise in your background. I don't know whether it's a radio or what. Can you maybe move away from there?
It's not in the background. What of now? Am I clear?
Let's try to speak there.
Okay, as I said, uh, in my area, sir, the organizations are not as much as I can visit a lot. The organization did not pass 5 to 6 because these course or the organizations are new in my community. So I hope there is no problem using the 5 to 6 organization. That's my question, sir.
Sorry, am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
See, your question is you do not have much organization. There is no
Yes.
availability of organization. You are saying like that. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So no problem. What I said, suppose one kind of organizations are there You may be uh, going to that organization, and a organization might be working in different field. Suppose one organization has different branch. So for first year or first journal, you work for a health setting, right? So health setting also different areas. What I said, one area is a suppose you counsel in first journal, you counsel to some of the patients, and in second time again you suppose visited to that organization. What you will do there? You will do the survey activities, health survey activities, organizing health camp activities. If they are doing some health camp, you will participate to that health camp and gain the knowledge. Right. Suppose you are placed in that organization, it is okay. If you are not placed, then you will just for orientation visit, it is okay. That initially you find out the information of the counseling, and second time you find out the information related to the community health center, where health health needs and community uh, initiatives or that organization initiative to develop awareness program, what kind of awareness program they have developed, that you will find out, and that you can also write. In same organization, you may be visiting twice also, there is no problem. But the same kind of activities should not be repeated. Definitely in the health sector, if that organization is working, there is no problem. Suppose there is no availability of the organization, then what you will do? You have nothing to do. So by that time, your work is to, you have to separate the health activities. One side you work first, in the first phase you work for counseling. Second phase you involve yourself for organizing the awareness campaign, survey, and that type of activities in that particular area, so that it will be not harmful for you. Understand? Anas, understand what I say?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Welcome, welcome. Any other question, Francis or Classer, Cliff, Bobs, Davis? Any question? Any other? Whatever I talked today, is it clear to you all?
Yes,
Whatever I talked
Yes,
today,
sir.
is it clear to you all?
it's clear, sir. It's clear.
Hello? Is it clear?
Yes,
Very
sir.
clear, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Thank you then, thank you, thank
Oh,
you. So, uh, do you want to ask any question, or we will wind up this class now? Thank you,
I
thank
think we
you,
can.
class.
I
It's
think.
okay, sir.
Thank you so much for your
I think we can.
message.
We can wind up. We can wind up, sir.
Yeah,
We have understood from your good explanation from the past days. We have been taking each and every detail and taking a good time.
Okay.
Yes,
Good
sure.
night, good night. Thank you, thank you. With this, we will
Thank
sum
you.
up
Have
this
a great
class. Once again,
Thank you.
we will meet tomorrow by this time. Thank you all. God bless you. Thank you all.
Thank you.